but there's an AI note taker that
Okay, I've been informed that we're live, so good morning and a happy new year to everybody, and welcome to this licensing panel. It's an application for a new premises license for the Sushi Co at 65 Western Road, Brighton, Bravo November 1 to Hotel Alpha. Before we get started, could I just ask the members of the panel, the councillors on the panel, to just elect a chair amongst themselves, please?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Sykes.
Okay.
You're on mute, Councillor Lyons.
I'm happy to second that.
Councillor Sykes, you are the chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, councillors, and welcome everyone to this panel. First of all, a couple of items of procedural business. Are there any declarations of substitutes today? I don't think there are. No. Any declarations of interest at all? No. On exclusion of press and public, I do note on the agenda there is a second part, which is exempt category A, I think, but I'm not aware of any part 2 papers. Are you, Rebecca?
I'm not. No, I don't think there are. No.
No. Okay. So that being the case, there are no non-public items on the agenda, so we won't be excluding the press and public for any item today. And we are webcast, so it's all in open session. So this is an application for a new premises license for the Sushi Co 65 Western Road, Brighton. And so before we begin, I'm going to ask for a round of introductions. And so I'm going to go round my screen. Alex Evans, please.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Alex Evans. I'm here attending today in my capacity as I manage the licensing team. I'm here to support my colleague, Emily, who will be introducing the application to the panel. This is the first hearing under our revised statement of licensing policy, which came into effect on Monday, the 6th of January 2026. So I'll be here to answer any questions and to support Emily.
Thank you, Alex. Okay, we'll go to Emily and then Sarah Booker-Lewis.
Good morning, everyone. Emily Fountain, Licensing Officer, presenting the application.
Thank you.
Good morning, Sarah Booker-Lewis, Local Democracy Reporter for Brighton and Hove, representing the majority of news media in the city.
Councillor Thompson and then Frankie.
Good morning. I'm Councillor Alison Thompson, Local Councillor for Regency Ward and member of the Licensing Committee.
Frankie Mitchell, Democratic Services, and I'm clerking this meeting.
Thank you, Frankie. Donna and then Mark.
Good morning, Donna Linsdale, Licensing Officer, and I'm submitting a representation on behalf of the Licensing Authority today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark.
and yeah, Mark Thorogood, Sussex Police Licensing.
Thank you. Jim Hawker, then Haran. Tushy Haran.
Morning, my name's Jim Hawker. I'm Head of Marketing at the Sushi Co.
Thank you.
And I'm Dales Farrell. I'm Head of Operations for Sushi Co.
Thank you very much. Rebecca, and then finally, not least, Councillor Lyons.
Yeah, good morning. Rebecca Siddell, Legal Advisor to the panel.
Thank you. Councillor Lyons.
And good morning, everybody. Councillor Ivan Lyons, West Sea and Hove Park Ward Conservative Councillor and member of the Licensing Committee. Thank you.
Right, okay, so now we'll go into representations. Please ensure that your microphone's on when you're speaking. If possible, have your camera on as well, and turn your microphone camera off when not speaking. The procedure we're going to follow, we're going to hear representations from respective parties. So we'll go to licensing officer, then licensing rep officer, then police, then the applicant, with questions from other parties in the panel in between, and then we will, and then we go to summaries, and then the panel retires to consider what it's heard and come to a decision on the application. So, first of all, I'm going to go to our licensing officer, Emily, to introduce the application.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair. This is an application for Sushi Co. 65 Western Road, Brighton. The hours applied for are for the sale of alcohol on the premises every day, 11 to 2300, and late night refreshment every day, 2300 to 0300. In a subsequent submission from the applicant, they have proposed that the late night refreshment would be for delivery only. The application proposes a ground floor restaurant providing dine-in and takeaway Japanese cuisine, and I'll leave it to the applicant to explain the application in more detail. Part M, the operating schedule of the application, is detailed at Appendix A, and the proposed plan of the premises is attached to Appendix B. 2 representations were received. They were received from Sussex Police and the Licensing Authority. These representations had concerns relating to all 4 licensing objectives, and as well as cumulative impact. Full details of the representations can be found in Appendix C from page 43. Sussex Police also included proposed conditions they would want added to the operating schedule if the panel are minded to grant this licence. These conditions are also in Appendix C. A condition was agreed between Environmental Protection and the applicant. That condition isn't in the papers but has been circulated to all parties. The applicant's response to the Police and Licensing Authority's representations can be found in Appendix D, and a map detailing the location of the premises is in Appendix E. Both the application for this licence and representations to the application were made when the 2021 Statement of Licensing Policy was in force, and therefore had regard to that policy. On the 5th of January, Monday, a new 5-year Statement of Licensing Policy came into force. This policy forms the basis of the papers today and is what the panel must have regard to when reaching their decision on this application. This premises falls within the city safety area, which replaces the cumulative impact area in the previous Statement of Licensing Policy. The city safety area, or CSA as I refer to it, continues to be an area of special concern to the Licensing Authority because of the high levels of crime and disorder and public nuisance experienced within it. Although no longer subject to a blanket presumption of refusal, all applications within the CSA will be scrutinised against the new matrix approach to licensing decisions, which is set out at 3.4 of the Statement of Licensing Policy and on pages 15 to 17 of today's agenda. It provides a firm framework of what the Licensing Authority would like to see within its area and gives an indication of the likelihood of success or otherwise to investors and businesses making applications. It underpins the City Safety Policy, which can be found in 3.1 of the Statement of Licensing Policy and on page 9 of today's agenda. The matrix approach will not be applied inflexibly, but the Licensing Authority will only depart from it in exceptional circumstances. Cumulative impact remains a significant concern due to the high concentration of licensed premises within the CSA. However, it is recognised that the degree of impact is likely to vary for different premises depending on their business model and other characteristics. The matrix approach sets out the Licensing Authority's preferred approach, but this does not mean that applications which comply with the matrix will always be granted. It's expected that responsible authorities or other persons will continue to make representations based on cumulative impact in appropriate cases, and therefore in The licensing authority may, in its discretion, refuse an application on the grounds of cumulative impact, notwithstanding that it otherwise complies with the matrix. Each application will be considered on its own merits. However, the licensing authority will apply the matrix approach in all cases unless there are exceptional circumstances which justify a different approach. The licensing authority will determine exceptional circumstances on a case-by-case basis. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Emily. That was an excellent summary of the application. I'm going to ask all parties at the same time if they have any questions to Emily about the presentation of the application. Put your hand up. No? Okay, then we'll go to representations. I'm going to go in the order licensing officer, police, then applicant, with questions to each party in the order panel, other representation and applicant. So that's the order I'm going to take things in. So can we first of all then please have the representation from our licensing officer, Donna? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I make this representation on behalf of the Council's licensing team in their capacity as a responsible authority in relation to an application for a new premises licence located at 65 Western Road, Brighton. A copy of this representation can be seen on pages 51 to 60. This representation is made as the licensing team have concerns that the application could have a negative impact on the licence objectives of the prevention of crime and disorder and the prevention of public nuisance. On the 7th of November 2025, I visited the premises with colleagues from police licensing, as we are aware that they were advertising to be open, providing hot food after 11 p.m. without a late night refreshment licence. At the time of our visit, the premises was open and trading, and the 2 staff members working confirmed the premises would be open till 3 a.m. They also confirmed that hot food was available and were cooking at the time of our visit. During this visit, I had a conversation on the telephone with Mr. Sammer, who is the director of Sushiko, and the proposed DPS for this application. I confirmed that the premises was not allowed to supply hot food after 2300 hours without a late night refreshment licence. Mr. Sammer disputed this and stated that they were allowed to provide 20% of hot food without a licence and continued to be dismissive of the information I was providing. Mr. Sammer then informed me that they would pre-cook the food and then use a microwave to reheat. I again advised that this would be hot food and could not be sold after 2300 without the late night refreshment licence. Mr. Sammer stated that he had a number of premises across London and why was trading in Brighton different. I again repeated that he could not trade without a late night refreshment licence and that I'd already been sending a warning. Mr. Sammer then called me a job's worth. I then ended the call and passed the phone back to the staff member. On the 17th of March 2025, a food registration form was submitted to the Environmental Health Team, advising that the operating hours for the premises would be 11 till 2300. A copy of this representation in form, Appendix B, is on pages 56 to 60. Following receiving a copy of my representation, the applicant sent an acknowledgement on the 9th of December 2025. Within the acknowledgement, it stated that there was a misunderstanding during my visit on the 7th of November and that no further late night trading has taken place. However, the premises has continued to stay open and trading past 2300 hours. The licensed team make this representation as we have concerns that the application could have a negative impact on the license objectives of the prevention of crime and disorder and the prevention of public nuisance. I do not believe that the applicant has demonstrated that, if a licence was to be granted, would hold the licence objectives. Taking into consideration the dismissive attitude regarding trading without a late night refreshment licence, I do not have any confidence in the existing management. I therefore invite the licensing panel to refuse this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Can I just check the date you received the letter from the applicant, please? 'Cause that's not clear from the pack. Did I hear 19th of December?
Yes, so after my representation was
Okay.
submitted,
Great.
they then
Okay.
replied to my warning.
That's Appendix D, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much for your representation. Any questions from the panel for our licensing officer? No? Okay. Any questions from the police for our licensing officer?
No, thank you, Chair.
Any questions from the applicant for our licensing officer? No? You may sort of want to put questions in your representation. Rebecca.
Yeah, sorry, through you, Chair. Donna, did you say that they continued to stay, when you got the acknowledgement in December, they continued to stay open past 2300 hours? What was that? Did you say that?
Yes, they've carried on trading. And I'm not aware whether it was hot food they've actually been trading, but they have been continuing to open past 2300 hours.
Right. Okay. That's and okay. Well, maybe the panel can ask the applicant about that then.
Okay.
Actually.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for raising that, Rebecca. Okay. Okay. So not hearing any questions for our licensing officer, so we'll go to a representation from the licensing police, please, Mark.
Thank you, Chair. I've got quite a bit to cover off, so please bear with me.
Okay.
So, as mentioned, we're here today to consider an application for a new alcohol and late night refreshments licence for the Sushi Co, Western Road, Brighton. The location of the premises is close by to Churchill Square and next to KFC and opposite McDonald's, nearest main retail shop being Primark a few metres away. The premises is an area of the city which is subject to a special policy adopted by Brighton and Hove City Council and has been fully reviewed and updated, taking into consideration current trends and crime data. The premises lies in what was the Community of Impact Zone, but now known as the City Safety Area, and seats the following hours and licensable activities. Supply of alcohol Monday through to Sunday, 11 o'clock till 2300. And then late night refreshments Monday through to Sunday, 2300 till 0300. Hours the premises will be open to the public is Monday through to Sunday, 11 o'clock till 2300 hours. Within the general description of the premises, it's described as a ground floor restaurant offering dine-in and takeaway Japanese cuisine. Sussex Police are unable to support this application over concerns around the management of the premises, their understanding of the Licensing Act, and the responsibility that comes with holding a premises licence, especially within this location. We felt this application should be put before a licensing panel for your consideration, taking our concerns into account, which I will now detail. Firstly, some history in our recent dealings with the premises. On the 7th of November at 2305, Police Licensing, along with a colleague from Brighton and Hove City Council Licensing, attended the premises. We were aware there had been advertising various operating hours, depending on what platform you were looking at, some with 0300 and others, including their own website, stating 0400. At the time of our visit, the restaurant was open with 2 staff members behind the counter. We confirmed what time the venue was open until, and they advised 0300. They were also asked if hot food was available, to which they confirmed it was. One of the staff members was preparing hot food at the time. The employees were advised that hot food after 2300 was not possible without a late night refreshments licence. At this point, one of the staff members made a call and a conversation was had with who we believe to be Mr. Sama, who advised us he was the venue owner. It was pointed out to him by Police Licensing that they needed a late night refreshments licence if they wished to trade hot food after 2300. Mr. Sama became very dismissive of this information and legal requirement. As we were present with an official from the local authority licensing department, the phone was handed over to them to confirm what we advised was correct. During this conversation, we understand that Mr. Summer continued to argue that a licence was not needed, and then tried to find a way around this by suggesting they pre-cook all the food and then reheat it in microwaves when orders come in after 2300. He was advised this was not an option. His dismissive approach to the requirement under the Licensing Act raises concerns over compliance to any licence conditions should one be granted. He was adamant he was not taking advice given to him by responsible authorities, which makes it hard to engage in and build any reasonable and positive working relationship. Following this visit, a formal warning was issued for conducting licensable activities without the correct permissions in place. This was emailed on the 10th of November. However, there was no response to this until the 9th of December, and that was in regard to our objection to this application. Within this response, which has come from Mr. Wagath, he has stated that closing times have been updated on all relevant platforms so that they all state the same thing. He also advised that a temporary restriction has been imposed so no trading occurs after 2300. On the 14th of December at midnight, uniformed officers attended and found the premises open. This being 5 days after us being advised the premises would not be trading beyond 2300. Staff were inside and preparing food. When asked if they were offering hot food, they replied that all food was going out cold. An additional check was made on New Year's Eve at 23:20, and again the venue was still open with customers inside eating. Staff confirmed only cold food was being served, although hot food was on the self-service electronic ordering service. And again, this goes against what we were advised about being closed at 2300. Regarding advertised that closing times have been updated across all platforms, as of this morning, the company's website advertises until 3 a.m. Monday to Thursday and 4 a.m. Friday to Sunday. Google advertises 3 a.m. Monday to Friday and 4 a.m. Saturday and Sunday. It's only Just Eat that I can see advertises until 2300 hours. Focusing on the application itself, this was sent to us 3 days after finding them trading without one. Within it, they are asking for the licence to start from the 25th of November. However, there is a 28-day consultation period which ended on the 8th of December. The application is for on sales, and this is also mentioned within section M. Venue. They state that alcohol will be for consumption both on and off the premises. The opening hours to the public is in 2300, yet they are applying for a 3 a.m. late refreshment licence. So unsure if after 2300 the restaurant will be closed and will be for online orders for delivery only. They state they have CCTV in the restaurant that stores for 31 days, yet further down they state they will keep the footage for 14 days. The venue description is a ground floor restaurant. However, looking at the submitted plans, they're also looking to license the basement area. And the proposed designated premises supervisor lives in Mitcham, which is not overly local to the premises. So unsure how often they will be on site having day-to-day control. Since our representation, some of this has now been clarified, but it does evidence a failure of attention to detail. How does this install us with confidence that all the administration side of things will be adhered to that comes with having an alcohol and a late night refreshment licence? As mentioned, the location of the venue is on Western Road, Brighton, set within what is now known as the City Safety Area, as defined within the Brighton and Hove Statement of Brighton and Hove City Council 2026 Statement of Licensing Policy. Paragraph 3.1.2 states, the City Safety Area continues to be an area of special concern to the licensing authority because of the high levels of crime and disorder and nuisance experienced within it. This is evidenced by the police data which is attached to Appendix E of the new policy. Referring to the matrix within the policy, which sets out the expectations for new and varied applications for the city, food and dining venues are until 1 a.m, and it's a no for fast food outlets. Within the response to our representation, the applicant has confirmed that alcohol will be on sales only and until 2300 hours. As long as it's conditioned that it's with a table meal, then in theory, this element sits within the policy. The late night refreshments part of the application would, however, not. They have stated that from 2300 the restaurant would be closed and food would be for online delivery orders only. Within the application, the applicant has made no reference to the local policy nor given any exceptional circumstances to go against it. They do not acknowledge their city centre location and the added risk that comes with this. There is no offering of any SIA security, be that SIA working at the venue or by way of a mobile support unit, and no mention of joining the Brighton Crime Reduction Partnership. They have only agreed to things like this when they had sight of our proposed conditions we submitted for you panel to decide if you wish to grant. Looking at crime data within a 200-metre radius of the venue, between the 25th of November 24 and the 24th of November 25, amongst others, 13 were for sexual assaults, 167 for violent crime, 21 for robbery, 44 for criminal damage, and 84 public order. Although we acknowledge that not all incidents are linked to alcohol, when looking at these crime types, alcohol is often a factor. Regency Ward, of which this venue sits in, under the public health framework for assessing alcohol licensing, is listed top of all Brighton and Hove wards for sexual offences and violence with injury. Although we strongly oppose this application and are seeking full refusal, we are aware that you, the panel, are in your right to grant if you believe it will not add to any negative impact, and that you also have trust in the operator to trade under the licence responsibly, something currently we're struggling with. For this reason, we have submitted several conditions that we ask the panel to consider. This would be in addition to any offered up within the original application or ones that you feel are appropriate to adopt. If retail sale of alcohol is permitted, we would ask that this is for on premises until 22:30 to give 30 minutes drinking up time and be under restaurant style conditions. Additionally, if any late night refreshments are granted, this is for delivery and that from 2300 the restaurant is closed to the public. However, taking our findings of the recent inspections, the dealings we have had with the owner, the confusion over the application itself, the crime stats, and to support the local policy, Sussex Police invite the licensing authority to seriously consider refusing this application in full. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Mark, I'll go to questions to our licensing police, first of all from the panel, please. Alison.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Mark. I'm unfortunately, we only just got a whole load of the paperwork documentation quite late this morning. So what my first question is, and I'm sorry this sounds so basic, but I because I'm councillor for Regency Ward, when I had checked the location, I thought it was in my ward, but when I looked at the Appendix E on the paper, on the documentation that was sent out, it suggests that it's actually much further west. But I think that the description that you've just given me of the premises to be near McDonald's and Primark, can I check that Appendix E is not correct? Are you aware of that map?
Appendix E is not correct.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that. I always check Regency Ward because I search the postcode on the council website, which then obviously tells you what ward that comes under. So that's how I get that.
Yeah. Okay. Can anybody else help with this? Because you know, it's the Appendix E patently states that it is way further west, and I don't even know if that still constitutes the, you know, the city safety area.
Alison, the map in Appendix E is in my ward, it's on Palmyra Square, and it's not correct.
Yeah.
I think we're quite clear where the venue is.
Yeah, that's fine. That's exactly, which is where I thought it was. That's fine. Yeah. I just don't understand why I've now been sent documentation to tell me that it's somewhere completely different. But that's fine. Okay, great.
That was an error.
Okay, great, thank you. Mark, could I ask just a couple of other things? You mentioned that because, obviously we've, again, late, sort of submission of this information. I can see that the applicant has agreed to an awful lot of the conditions, but you were saying that they've only agreed to those since those documents became, sort of public or whatever. That up
Yeah.
until that point, there was no effort to kind of make sure. I mean, you're saying that basically they're still advertising until 3 or 4 a.m. online, and they're still, and even on New Year's Eve they were still open past 11 p.m. Is that correct?
That is correct. I mean, like I say, we've got no evidence that they were doing hot food, and the staff advised that they were doing cold food, which obviously in theory you don't need a license for. But what I'm just trying to get across is obviously we had the original dealings where they were trading without a license. We then put in an objection to this application. They then responded, and they've clearly stated in their email of the 9th of December, and it says a temporary restriction has been imposed, so no trading occurs after 2300. Yeah, we've been there twice and they are open, so they are trading. So again, it's just our concerns over saying one thing and then doing another, and how we can, move forward with that kind of thing when obviously a license comes with a number of conditions with it, and our faith in them being able to adhere to those conditions.
Okay. Do we know how many? Actually, I can ask the applicant. Don't worry. That's it. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Councillor Lyons.
Thank you, Chair. That was very comprehensive, Mark. A couple of questions from me. You mentioned about the crime stats in the area, and obviously it's a hot spot. Has there been any disturbances reported by neighbours? Obviously conscious that no neighbours are present at this licensing meeting, but has there been any concerns from the neighbours?
Not that we've been made aware of. I would have thought if Environmental Protection had been aware of any, then they would have been here today as well. So, no, I can't say that there has been.
Okay, thank you. And a second question, in terms of delivery, so if the panel were mindful of granting a delivery service, just conscious about the mechanics around the area, because it's red routes, double yellow lines and such. So is there facilities for delivery drivers or vehicles of any sorts at that location?
It's just really my own awareness of personally just walking along that part of the town, and you've got McDonald's opposite, and you have vehicles that are parked on the pavement outside McDonald's or on the side road, which I don't think residents overly enjoy. So permitting this to be open till 3 a.m, that could obviously increase that for those residents on that road. There is a condition that I've included within the list of conditions, if you are minded to grant, which goes along the lines of the premises has to ensure that delivery riders park legally and are not causing a public nuisance. But the thing is, they are using third-party agents. So, how they manage that's obviously going to be down to them if that condition is imposed.
Sure. Okay. No, thank you.
In that area.
Fine. Thank you.
Councillor Thompson, another question from you.
Thanks, Chair. Sorry, Mark, just to sort of reiterate, I mean, obviously this is my ward, so I'm sort of, very familiar with it, and I do get residents who do complain about exactly that. What can restaurants do? What obligations can they impose on their delivery drivers? I mean, it's their responsibility, right? I know you're saying that they're third party, but there must be some, I mean, presumably they can cancel. I'm just not quite sure how that little bit of the noise impact works. It's the restaurant's responsibility, but how do they stop them?
It is, and I mean, I can only speak of experience of dealing with one late night restaurant that was granted a license last year, and we've actually been really impressed with them. How they've stopped riders parking on the footpath and everything. If it's a push bike, which quite a few riders now use, these e-bikes, that's something that we can't necessarily impose as long as it's not blocking the footpath. But when it's mopeds and everything, they refuse to give the order. until that person moves their motorbike and goes and put it somewhere more responsibly. And if they refuse, as far as I'm aware, they refuse to give them the order and let the company know that their rider is not adhering. But I can't.
So it can be done.
It can be, depending on the operator.
Of course, yeah. Okay, great.
Just one quick one from me to yourself, Mark. If I can, you've outlined your concerns about the management and about this not meeting the new matrix and the new statement of licensing policy. I just wondered if you could say something about your concerns about late night refreshment for delivery basis only in terms of the licensing objectives.
Yeah, so it is all about that responsible trading. At the moment, they haven't evidenced to us responsible trading. So, doing late night delivery, it can impact, obviously, the public nuisance. We've seen that at another location in recent times, with riders coming late at night and, whether we have faith in the operator that they are going to ensure that these delivery riders all act responsibly and respect the local area.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I think that concludes questions from the panel to our licensing police. I'll go to our licensing officer, Donna. Do you have any questions for licensing, please?
No, thank you, Chair.
Okay, I'll go to the applicant. Any questions from the applicant, licensing, please? Nope. Okay. Thank you very much. So that concludes our representation from the licensing police. I'll now go to the applicant. Who's going to speak for the applicant?
I'm going to provide an opening statement, and then my colleague Harram will answer any more specific questions, if that's okay.
Okay, thank you. Go for it, Jim. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, firstly, I'd like to apologise. I think we didn't handle that first meeting very well at all. That's clear to everyone on this call, I imagine. It's clear that lessons need to be learnt, have been learnt, and we have made some big internal changes in our approach to as an operator. I would like to have seen some of those come into effect more strongly in the time that this has been flagged, but I can only reassure that we want to continue to work with all stakeholders locally in a positive way. I think it's fair to say we weren't as knowledgeable as we could have been about some of the local efforts that have been made historically by Sussex Police and by the council to create the CSA, which of course we agree with. It's a great initiative and we support it. But we have, and it's no defence, but we've been very focused as a London operator, and we need to better familiarise ourselves with the local environments in which we are opening stores, and there's lessons for us to learn there about how we can get up to speed quickly and work more effectively with local stakeholders. I do want to reassure you that despite appearances, we are a responsible operator. We do have something like 30 now restaurants across London and the southeast. We've had no incidents of any concern in our 3 years of trading, which I hope is taken into account. We have invested a lot of money into Brighton. We've invested over £1 million to create a restaurant brand that we can be proud of. We've created local jobs again, and I think it's just to give some context, but the trading environment in Brighton has been particularly tough since we opened the store, and it doesn't excuse any of the behaviours that have been highlighted today, but we're doing our best and we'll continue to do our best to work within the parameters and conditions that you set. But I just want to say, we want to continue to work positively on any conditions that you may set as part of this hearing. We are committed to Brighton for the long term and want to work positively with all stakeholders. So again, I can only apologise for some of the language that was also used at that first meeting. It's unacceptable. Again, just reinforce that we want to work with you in a positive way. So concludes my statement. And Haran, my colleague who heads up operations, will be available with me to answer any specific questions.
Okay.
You're on mute, Chair.
Sorry, I thought I pressed the button. Obviously didn't. Okay, are you okay going straight to questions, or Haran, would you like to make a submission now?
Yeah, echoing on what Jim said is since then we've taken the training very seriously and making sure the relevant people are contacted with and trained. Being in London base, there was an oversight from our end with the training department. So we've taken an effort to go there and spend some time. And I know you mentioned about the stores that does close to public at 11 o'clock, and the people were there from the served. We give them a half an hour to eat and leave. By 11:30, everyone's left the premises, but we don't serve anyone after 11 o'clock. It's only the takeaway cold food only, and specifically we continue with the late delivery only, being the difficult trading circumstances that we carried on. And yeah, I can assure you, so even though that the self kiosk is displaying, but we are not letting anyone else in the premises after 11 o'clock, so that it's we won't be able to place an order through kiosk. No.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. So I'll go to questions from initially from the panel. So first of all, Councillor Lyons, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, a few questions. The first one, the applicants, you've mentioned you've made some changes. Can you elaborate on what changes you've made?
So first of all, our training department is based in London, so they spend the time in Brighton with the management team that runs operate the stores. And we have regular visits. Now once a week, the one person from the training department visits store, and we also have calls regularly. And yeah.
Right. Okay. So is this the first venture for the chain outside London?
Yeah, we have one in Colchester, but this is the first one that's further away from London, and the rest of them are in London.
Okay. So you mentioned, or your colleague mentioned, that there are some 30 restaurants in London.
Yeah. So we have 25, and then we are building another 5 that be open in the next 4 months.
Okay, so I don't know whether you'll be able to answer this or your colleague, or but in terms of the restaurants that are open already, what is the general opening hours and delivery situations of those restaurants?
So the general opening hours is from 11 to 11,
Yeah.
and then it's just delivery until some areas till 1 o'clock, and some of them have like just a delivery cold food until 3 or 4 o'clock, depending on the area.
Okay, and is it sort of a chain whereby the food is generally made at one establishment and then shipped around the different various
it's made,
restaurants and eaten, or everything's made bespoke?
Everything's made bespoke in the store.
Right. Okay. Thank you. So my last question is, and I'm probably knowing what the answer would be, but how can with a chain with so many restaurants, how could you be so naive as to opening and have and not putting on Google your times and other platforms contradicting each other? So how can one be so naive?
You say that from my end, it's an oversight, but I think it could be. I mean, they're denying it, but it could be that the trading's been poor, less than what is expected, and the management team must have asked to change it, and someone would change it without the permission.
Okay, so and my last question is, obviously, we've heard a long representation from the police who've got no confidence. What confidence can you give to the licensing panel that we should grant the relevant license?
I mean, we've already implemented the closure of 11 o'clock, and it's only deliveries after cold food delivery after 2300 hours. So that's been implemented, and we do use the third party for deliveries, and majority of them are through electric bikes, and that's through I can't say what percentages, but high percentages have been electric bike around that area.
Okay, thank you. No more questions at this stage. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Lyons. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks both, Jim and Haran. I, if that's okay that I call you by your first name. I suppose, you can see how difficult this is for us because, you've responded, to all the, suggestions from the police and licensing, to say that you'll meet all these, conditions. It is just very difficult for us when we're trying to sort of, work out, sort of how, what kind of responsible traders you are. So, I mean, I suppose my main question is kind of, well, how long have you been operating in London? I mean, have you been in operation a long time?
3.5 years.
And it's not a franchise operation or anything like that, is it? It's I mean, you own these businesses. Pardon?
That's correct.
Majority of them.
That's correct.
Okay. You see, because I think you've obviously, I mean, in the past 3.5 years, you've obviously had dealings with multiple councils. So it just strikes me. Pardon?
Sorry, we have no issue with any of the council or the police.
No, but you have to apply for a license for them.
Yeah.
Or not?
Yes.
That's yeah. So I suppose that's the thing. I mean, where is Mr. Summer today? I mean, I was kind of assuming that he would be here, or I mean, you're a director, Haran, right? I mean, what's Mr. Summers' role?
So I've spoken to Mr. Summer, and he denied that was him, and he was the store team would say he must have given one of his friends to discuss, but some are saying it wasn't him and name was used.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I know this is a really basic question, and my apologies again, and maybe we haven't quite got all the information that we required, but sushi is cold, right? What hot food are you selling?
It's a katsukari and rice, and there are a few hot foods that we do.
Okay, I see. Okay.
The majority of them are cold food.
Yeah. Okay. So could I ask about your designated premises supervisor? Because that was Mr. Samra, is that right? Is he still the designated premises supervisor? So
no, this is Gopi Sama is the designated supervisor. She is there for 2 days a week, and we are training an in-house person in the meantime. Then they will be going through the obtaining the personal license.
I see. Okay. Okay. And you serve alcohol already until 11?
No, we don't.
No alcohol, sorry, right. Okay, I've misunderstood that. Okay, great. So the alcohol will be completely new. You've also mentioned that I think in one of your emails, I read that you had a compliance manager, and I just wanted to ask what their role was. That's not going to be the same as the designated premises supervisor.
It's the trainer. They're based in the office and in London.
Okay. Oh, okay. Within your training, I don't know if you've seen in the new licensing policy that we're sort of, we're looking at equity, diversity and inclusion training for staff. I don't know if that comes under your remit. Is that something that you're likely to look into?
No, we haven't, but they will
Maybe
go
you
through the
could
training.
have a look at that. It's part of our
Yeah.
new policy that came in on Monday.
Okay.
I've also wanted to check with the Brighton Crime Reduction Partnership. Am I right in saying that you've agreed that you will sign up to that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, I don't think I have any. Can I just ask actually one more question? How many seats you've got in your establishment? How many people does it seat?
Including the basement that hardly get used, believe around under 40.
Under 40, okay. When you say including the basement, I thought we'd established that you weren't going to be using the basement, or have I
No.
misunderstood? I thought that
It's for the
Mark had mentioned. Go on. Sorry.
I think it's for the alcohol use. It's only for the ground floor, not the basement.
Sorry, I didn't understand. Could you repeat that, please?
For the alcohol, if you had to serve alcohol with the meal, it will be only on the ground floor, not in the basement. And majority of our sales is through 80% of the sales is through takeaways and deliveries, not dining. So.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe Rebecca can help. I'm a bit confused now. Sorry. You would only serve alcohol on the ground floor, not the basement. But I thought the application was. I'm a bit confused. I don't know if anyone can shed any light. I thought the application was only for the ground floor. Is anybody help? I don't know, Mark or anyone.
I think it was a point of confusion, I think, raised by Mark. There was lack of clarity about the use of the basement, I think, and that was going to be my question as well. So, I mean, are we sort of separating out use of the basement and the ground floor? So, basement could be used for food eating, but not alcohol, and ground floor is food plus alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, that's correct, but we don't actually. I mean, the majority of the sales come through collection and deliveries. And it's very few. So 80% of the sales is through our takeaways and deliveries. So we don't. We hardly use the basement. That's what I was trying to say.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, how many seats are there on the ground floor?
About 12.
Okay. Because I mean, obviously, part of the reason for wanting to serve alcohol is so that you will have more people eating in, right? Is that not part of your marketing strategy? I don't know.
It will attract more people, yes. But we are only 20% dine-in at the moment.
I know, but presumably the reason why you wanted to offer alcohol is so that you can expand that part of the business, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Rebecca.
No, I'm a bit through you, Chair. So alcohol is for on sales only, though. That's right, isn't it? So you wouldn't be supplying alcohol with the food to take away.
No, we don't.
No, that's not what I was asking. What I was saying was if the reason why they're asking for an alcohol license is so that they can expand they can expand the number of people who are dining in, because at the moment Haron's saying, oh well, 80% of our business is deliveries and takeaways. What I'm trying to establish is basically because you're asking specifically for an alcohol license to have more people sitting in to increase that 20% of the business. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, so on the ground floor, which is the only area that you're going to use for dining in and alcohol, there are 12 covers, is that right?
That's in the basement.
Oh, 12 covers in the basement.
In the basement.
Yes.
Oh.
What's in the
And
ground
how many
floor?
on the ground floor?
Looks like about 16 from the plan. Is it?
Pardon?
No, it says 16. Yeah, you're probably right. The 16 or 20 of that.
16 on the ground floor.
So how do you stop people from taking alcohol down into the basement?
It's served on the tables, so the order taken on the table, so you won't take any letters in the basement.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay. Thanks for raising that point, Rebecca. Right. So that was questions for the applicant from the panel. We'll go to our licensing officer, Donna. Do you have any questions for the applicant?
No, thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Go to our licensing police. Mark, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I have a couple. Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
So out of all your other restaurants, how many of them have alcohol licenses?
3.
3. And how many of them have late night refreshment licenses?
2.
Sorry, how many?
2, and we have applied for 1 more.
Okay, because according to your website, you've got 13 outlets that are open after 2300. So are you telling us that all those outlets only do cold food, when at Brighton you made it yourselves made it very clear to us that you didn't need a license to do hot food?
Cold food after 2300.
Okay, but you understand what I'm saying is, obviously, like I say, your other venues, you've got 13 that trade after 2300. And because you weren't aware in Brighton that you didn't need a license, it makes us wonder whether, you're trading elsewhere as well without the correct permissions. The other thing is, obviously, like I say, in the email that you sent us, you did confirm that there is no trading after 2300 hours. Now, was I correct in hearing you saying that, yes, you're stopping trading after 23 hours, but then people can just stay in there to consume?
No, if they are served before 2300, and then we've given a half an hour grace period for them to finish the meal and leave. Okay,
so as per my speech, on the 14th of December, officers were in there and you were still trading after and that was at midnight. So, again, I question, the information that you're giving us as to whether it's fully correct and whether you're actually fully aware of what's occurring in one of your venues.
I was told before 11:30, so that I wasn't given the information. I'll follow.
Okay. I've got no further questions, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think that concludes the representation from the applicant and the questions to the applicant. I've done about an hour. I think. Oh, Alison.
Sorry to be annoying, but just on the back of Mark's questions, given that there's only 3 premises that have alcohol licenses, are you applying for late night refreshment licenses? Are you applying for alcohol licenses in other locations as well? Is that part of your sort of model, as it were? Is that what you're looking to do across the board?
Not across the board, and a certain location only.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Right, I think we've heard representations from all parties. We've had the opportunity to ask questions in response to those representations from all parties. So we're now at the point where we go to summaries from each party, and the order I'll go is as previously. I'll ask our licensing officer first to summarise that representation, then the police, then the applicant. So no further questions after this point. And after those summaries, I'm going to ask our legal advisor if she has any closing comments, and then we will retire to make our decision. So if I can ask Donna, first of all, to summarise the licensing officer representation. Thank you.
So it'd be Emily.
Emily, right, Emily, sorry, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. As we've heard, this is an application for a new premises licence for Sushi Co. 65 Western Road, Brighton. We've now heard from all the parties present. Licensing guidance states that in determining the application with a view to promoting the licensing objectives in the overall interests of the local community, the licensing authority must give appropriate weight to the steps that are appropriate to promote the licensing objectives, the representations, including supporting information presented by all the parties, the guidance, and its own statement of licensing policy. It is important to note that each application will be given individual consideration on its own merits. After considering all the relevant issues, the licensing authority may grant the application subject to certain conditions, and any conditions added to the license to meet the licensing objectives should be clear, precise and enforceable. Alternatively, the licensing authority may refuse the application on the ground that it is appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives and against our statement of licensing policy. Thank you, Chair. Oh, you're on mute. Sorry.
Sorry. Closing summary from our police licensing officer, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Sussex Police have brought this application before the panel today seeking refusal. We've made you aware of the dealings we have had prior to the application being submitted and provided crime data in support of the recently updated policy. There is risk of negative impact in regards to crime, disorder and public nuisance, especially when we are struggling to have confidence in the operator. The application itself had many confusions within it. We have provided a number of conditions of which we ask you to consider, but please bear in mind our concerns in them being fully complied with. We kindly ask that you seriously consider refusing the application. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Finally, an opportunity for the applicant to provide a summary. Will that be Jim or Haran? Rebecca.
So Donna Linsdale should give a summary.
Oh, Donna. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I knew I'd trip up somewhere.
Mine's very short. I do not believe the applicant has demonstrated that if a licence was to be granted, they would uphold the licence objectives. I therefore invite the licensing panel to refuse the application. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Donna. Right. So, last but not least, applicant, provide your summary, please. Jim or Haran.
Yeah, so thank you again for your time. Again, apologise for some of the history that's gone and led up to this meeting. But we would be more than happy to work within any conditions that are set that have been recommended by the police and by yourselves. I do want to stress that in our 3+ years of trading, we've had no incidents or issues again across any of our sites. So I hope you take some reassurance from that. Thank you for your consideration and thanks for your time this morning.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Jim. That was all our summaries. Don't think I've missed anyone. So, Rebecca, any closing legal advice to the panel before we adjourn?
I haven't really got anything to add. As long as you've asked all the questions you want and have enough information to make an informed decision, I think you just should go away and deliberate now. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, could I thank everybody very much for attending today? We're going to close this meeting, then reconvene as the panel and with our clerk and our legal advisor, and you will hear from us within 5 working days. So thanks all for attending. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.